Johnny here for Johnny's Car Care and Reviews. You might be asking, why am I dressed in a blazer? Well, I'm dressed in a blazer because I finally have my date on real roads with the EcoBoost Maverick. I've waited for this thing for over 6 months. I drove it on a little mini race track back in September, but now, heck, it's been over 6 months. I'm really looking forward to this. We've got the 2-liter turbo, as many of you know, that's 250 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque, which I expect to actually be a blast because that torque is available, all of it, at only 3,000 RPM. So you don't have to press very hard on the pedal to get this thing moving nicely. So in this video, we're going to be talking, of course, a little bit about accessories. I'm going to tell you exactly what this is. This is an XLT straight. But it has the 4K tow package and the sliding back window with plastic bed liner. Now that works out to 34,500 Canadian. Forgive me if I'm $40 off, and I'll actually rate down here, put that in US dollars. I'll build that up on the site based on today's prices because, well, this was ordered back in June 10th. And I suspect it took a while because of the 4K tow package, because it's an all-wheel drive EcoBoost. Now let's talk about that all-wheel drive system. It's going to be fantastic in the snow because it's intelligent all-wheel drive. This vehicle is primarily front-wheel drive on a nice day. But if you either put the pedal to the metal, or if any wheel slip is detected with those front wheels, it only takes milliseconds to engage. You could kind of call it like a clutch, but basically to engage the power to the rear wheels, it only takes milliseconds. And the vehicle can adjust how much power it sends to each wheel. So this is actually a fantastic vehicle in a snowstorm, highly recommended. Now I do have a video where I towed with the front wheel drive hybrid in a snowstorm, uphill, made full stops, and I was in at least an inch of snow, and that actually went really well. So this is going to be a hoot in the snow. Now, what else can I say about this right before we jump right in? Well, I've got a few surprises for you. You're going to want to watch to then, and if you do like the video, please do like and subscribe. That's what keeps getting us, well, I won't always have the pleasure of having one of my good friends letting me use their vehicle because I can't expect all my good friends, I don't have that many, so I can't expect them all to have the latest and greatest, but subscribing will help get the channel a little bit more variety. Now, one thing that my friend Tristan has pointed out really well, do plan, if you've got one of these on order, the back seat, there are no back carpets. And he pointed out to me, he's like, hey Johnny, I don't mean that it doesn't come with carpets, I mean there's none that you can even have. You can't purchase any. So this is gonna be a big store or wherever you order from, you're gonna wanna get at least the little carpets to go over the carpets, but ideally you probably want to get that a nice rubber mat. Now, Tristan was looking at getting an engine cover made of plastic. And that engine cover made with plastic you can take right from an Escape. He's also gone to set up a nice LED kit for lighting in the back of the trunk. And in the back trunk, you know, normally you need to go with the Luxe package to have a little bit of lighting in the back, but he's cheated the system. He's got the right hack. He's gonna set up those LED lights, but surprisingly, when you order the plastic bed liner, it's gonna cover access to the actual wiring. So stay tuned. Another reason to subscribe, you won't wanna miss out. We are gonna be talking about how he got his light system set up and what you should know in advance, how to access that lighting and exactly what you're gonna need. But for now, let's just focus on whether this is, you know, good. What's the good, the bad, and the ugly, if there is any, of the 2-liter Maverick. So we're inside the vehicle and I want to really cover the nitty-gritty. I think all the little things that we often forget to talk about in a video. We've all heard about the motor. We know it's been used since 2013. It's now on to edition 2. It's more reliable now. Ford trusts it so much. It's in so many vehicles. The Edge, the Escape. It used to be in the Fusion. It's also in the Lincoln Corsair and the Lincoln Nautilus. So great engine, transmission. It's a new-ish 8-speed. Been out for a couple of years. So things are going pretty good in those areas. But let's talk about the nitty-gritty. For example, the backup camera. We've got a nice little surprise here. Even though this is a small price truck, it's still a lot of money. But it's not a lot of money for a truck. And you've got a really nice high-quality camera here. The white lines tell you where you're gonna go. So if I want to aim right into that driveway, which I really don't because I don't know them, that would just be rude. But at least I know exactly where I'm going. I turn the steering wheel and the lines go right to the other direction. So great backup camera. You even got these little black lines in the middle, and that's to line up your hitch. So I was using that just the other day when I was hooking up my four-wheeler, and I was able to get it right on, you know, right on the nose. So that is something I love. Now, something everyone's going to be asking themselves when they get this vehicle is, why is there a little hand with lines around it? It's actually Tristan that pointed that out to me. He's like, hey, you should talk about this. And he's right. So if I'm in drive and I let go of the brake, obviously I move forward. But if I stop and let's say I'm in traffic and I press that, that's auto hold. And now I no longer am touching the brakes. So I can stretch my legs when I'm in traffic, do whatever I need to do. That's there. I'll let your creativity figure out how you're going to use that one, if you're going to use it. Now, there is a button for making it so that there's no auto start stop. We'll see in the future if Ford offers us a $50 discount for taking the vehicle without that option, so that they use less microchips. But that makes it so that the vehicle, under no circumstance, when it's lit up, it is not gonna stop the engine when you're at the lights. Now, I don't mind it because I really don't notice it when it does stop. So for the road test, I'm gonna turn it back on, meaning nothing's lit up. If nothing's lit up, well, it's gonna stop under the right conditions. Don't expect it to stop at every light or every stop sign. It's got a whole lot of variables to fit. It's a fussy one. Now, you've got your handbrake here. It's now a finger brake. And that's just fun, nice and easy. Shows it right in the dash that's gone on. You've got the L here, and if you put it in L, well, if you're going, as soon as you let go of that gas pedal, you're gonna get some braking, and it's braking that comes from the transmission. So it's an assistance, it's an assist to the braking, it's additional braking. Now, I'm not gonna need that because I'm not towing, and this isn't a hybrid, so I'm not trying to get extra regenerative braking, so I don't need that. But what I would like to say is, this doesn't have everything you're gonna use with this vehicle in regards to your phone needs a plugged connection. This isn't Sync 4, so this is not a wireless connection. Now, of course, this is in the Luxe package, so no heated seats, no heated steering wheel, no leather steering wheel, and no heated exterior mirrors. But I like this, and Tristan really hacked it out. He wanted the LED lights, so he went on Amazon, bought himself a strip of LED lights, which he then actually noticed that they don't stick very well. But what's cool is the kit does come with brackets, plastic brackets, and you've got these little screws, and you can put it right into the plastic bed liner. Mind you, the bed liner is a funny point because, well, it covers access to your wiring, and well, that's what we needed for those lights. So we will do a video where Tristan and I explain that. For now, let's take this out on the road. We're in drive, so we're ready to roll. So these roads are very bad, and they really give me a great idea of what the suspension is going to give me under some pretty bad situations. There's lots of in and out of these ruts, and the road is cracked. Just washed and rinsed the vehicle, and Tristan is just gonna love the fact that I'm getting his new car dirty before he got to get it dirty. I'm lucky. So you're probably seeing in the camera right now, this road is bad, but the suspension, the suspension isn't making very much noise. It would be making a good amount of noise, however, if we had, 4 or 5 inch drops. So the seat is definitely comfortable. We drove around what must have been a good solid over an hour. Maverick and I with the hybrid. You've got the same seats on the EcoBoost. You have the same interior. I love the mix of color. I'm definitely a big fan once I've seen the orange in person. I did not like it on the website builder. I was not a fan of the orange one bit, but when you see it in real, your opinion very well might change. Maverick, of course, we won't say what she called this, exactly what this is, but I like it because I like the idea behind it. That's plastic, and the little speckles you see in it is actually the shavings from when they cut the carpets for the vehicle. Don't forget, in the back seat, get your rubber mats in advance, because there are no carpets that you can buy from Ford for it. I'll dodge those nails. Happy that this thing turns really well. It's got a good good turning radius. The suspension in the curves is fantastic. Now I'll actually go take it on the highway to show you all that. Now, everything on the steering wheel, I like how the button placement. You've got cruise control on the left, and of course when you're cruising, what are you doing? You're listening to music. So you also have your buttons for changing the volume here. You can mute the music, and on the other side you've got everything that has to do with phone and other options that are going to be quite important, like the menu. Now if you want to change the language to Spanish or French, you'll do that on the touch screen. Used to be done at Ford right here on the steering wheel with the little screen. Now of course this is not an FX4. If this were an FX4, what would you get? Well, instead of this 4-inch screen, you get the 6-inch or 6.5-inch screen like the Lariats. So you get that on an FX4 even if you get an XLT. So that's really good value right there. And this has all my favorite drive modes. You've got Eco and Sport. And if this was an FX4, well, we wouldn't have Eco mode and we wouldn't have Sport mode, but then of course we get that off-road mud or slippery mode, or mud and slippery mode. So things to consider depending where you live and what you plan on doing with the vehicle. But what I can say is I've been driving these Mavericks more and more now on the real roads, and I like the interior. The interior sound on the highway is good. I just drove a 4Runner, and I can't say that the 4Runner was better, despite it was a TRD, so double the price. Definitely did not have double the interior sound deadening. I'd actually say this might actually be a little bit quieter. It's very close either way. Not enough to really make a difference. Now, people have said that this interior is too plasticky. Well, once again, I can refer them to the Toyota 4Runner. Great vehicle, great looking vehicle, and you know what? Its interior is all plastic except for the little bit of leather that's on the door, which definitely does help give it a luxury look. But they say it's plastic, but everything you touch, if you get first of all, if you get the luxury package, if you're willing to wait, your steering wheel is going to be leather and it feels great. But the buttons here, volume, tune, all rubber buttons. Nice little mechanical feel, a little click when you turn these buttons. So everything that you're going to be touching, including the transmission knob, obviously I won't put it in the R for racing while we drive forward. That would be definitely disastrous. If I couldn't possibly do that to Tristan, but it definitely does have a good feel to it. Now this is a straight XLT, and I'm surprised we actually see the temperature. It's represented digitally. So I'm finding that very cool for the price of this vehicle. It's got the little digital temperature, and I'm surprised and wondering if due to microchips, that's something we might not have when our Mavericks are delivered. It might never happen, but I am going to obviously be keeping an eye on that story. Right now, I'm not having to yell to get through this video. They didn't waste any microchips on the mirror up top here. It's just a regular mirror. It's not, I believe, it's not the type of mirror that's going to cut people's high beams. But of course, you have that good old traditional button here. You just flick that at night, and you won't see people's high beams anymore. So that's what, if you've ever wondered what the little button on rear view mirrors is for, that's what it's for. Now, if I did want to open, let's say I've got a dog in the back, and the dog has gas. Well, that's what that back window's for. And I can't actually open it electronically because this isn't a Lariat. So with the XLT, you have to manually open that. Plan in advance. If you're bringing a hot panting dog, open that before you head out. That's going to be pretty useful, and I really don't see that causing any delays whatsoever. And this thing, I can tell you, we're driving it on the highway, and I'm loving it. It really does make me wonder how I'm paying so much more for a Bronco when this is oh so great. It's not just great for the price, it's a great driving vehicle. I enjoy driving this. I'm not high up. I'm not driving what almost feels like the biggest vehicle on the road, like when I'm driving the Bronco. But this will still whip you through the corners. And the 2-liter turbo, 2-liter doesn't sound like much. You buy milk, you can buy a 1 or a 2-liter. So when you think of it that way, you think, wow, this motor must have no power. But I'll tell you, this is fun to put the pedal to the metal on. And you can see right in these corners that it goes really well in the corners. I feel bad for the cameraman, because the cameraman is also the owner of this vehicle. So he'll be allowed to, he'll tell me what I owe him after this road test. His poor new tires. So if you only knew, this is how I drive the Bronco every single day, not just for road tests. And we'll just give it gas this one time. Sounds good, accelerates great. That accelerates actually quite a bit better than the TRD, the 4Runner TRD I just drove. This accelerates really well, puts a smile on my face. You'll be blending into traffic with no issues. You'll be passing people. I would gladly drive this down to Florida. So in just a moment, we're going to be showing you the drive mode, but I had to show you the view. Quebec, Canada, Quebec is a beautiful place. We've got a whole lot of mountains. We got some really nice sunsets, and it is just a fun place to own every vehicle except Ferrari, Lamborghini, or really anything that's low to the ground, because our roads are jokes, but our scenery is fantastic. And speaking of scenery, what does that lead me to talking about? The drive modes. So with drive modes, because we have all sorts of weather, we get really the extremes of all 4 seasons. It can be minus 40 in the winter, and it can be, you know, almost very close to plus 40 on, you know, 1 or 2 days in the summer. So we get a bit of everything. So what do we get for drive modes? Well, of course we have normal mode. That's just for your everyday normal driving. You could drive it all winter in normal mode. You get tow mode, because this has the 4-pin connector. Actually, this has 4K, so we can tow 4,000 pounds. We've got slippery mode, we've got eco mode, and we've got sport mode. And sport mode does make a difference. What it's gonna do, it's the opposite of eco mode, meaning it's gonna keep the RPM a little higher. It's gonna be basically like a teenager after a cup of coffee. It's ready to go and is pretty darn peppy. Now, if you find that annoying, either the teenagers or the sport mode, don't worry, you've got eco mode. It's the opposite. It's gonna wanna change gears, very low RPM, use as little gas as possible, and, well, be more like my 10-year-old German Shepherd was, just wanting to hang out on the couch. So it's gonna take life slow, but so far I've been really happy with just normal mode. It does the job. So right now I'm in sport. I was on the highway at 2200 RPM, and let's see, when I put it in normal, what do we get? Ticked, tiny little tick down, but the main thing is gonna be that it's gonna shift earlier. Good brakes, really good brakes, and very little body roll. You know, that's surprising, because usually truck means glue your face to the window when you're taking corners like this one quickly. And, you know, we got into that corner at about 60 kilometers an hour, miles per hour. We would have definitely been flying into the ditch, would have ended up in the front door of that hotel. But the only thing, really, the only little critique I have, and it's a happy critique, when I hit major bridge divisions or 4-inch holes with this, I hear the suspension and I feel the suspension. And you have to, when you have a 1,500-pound payload. You can throw in, what is it, like 40 mulch sacks in the back? That's impressive. That's a lot of weight, 1,500 pounds in the back. So you gotta have shocks that are built for it in the back. So you gotta live with a little bit of suspension noise. But if you have good roads, you won't even notice it.
And the thing to know is that if you look at a regular F-150, it's going to have what, 1,800 pounds available, and this is 15. So the difference is not that much. So yes, for sure the ride's a little bit stiffer, but we appreciate it. And that's a truck, not a big old truck, but it's a small truck.
Yeah, it's a small truck on steroids because it can lift with the big boys. You know, you're looking, it can lift more than a 4-door classic 1500 Ram. So it lifts with the big boys. I'd say that this is, I wouldn't call it the steroid truck. It's not the little truck on steroids, because steroids cost a lot, and this truck doesn't cost a lot, relatively speaking, for a truck. Of course, you know, at $34,500 Canadian, that is a big chunk of change. But in today's market, That's not, not bad at all. And if you can get one of these at MSRP, guess what? You're gonna get a whole lot more for your trade than you normally would. And if you can get this at MSRP, you're getting an incredible deal. And I can tell you, we were just driving on the highway. Now, of course, this isn't regular, but on the highway, if you're really careful with this, I do believe you can get about 5.5 liters per 100 kilometers. If you're being incredibly careful, I'd say probably more real life, must be about 7.5 liters. Would you say that's about right, Tristan?
If you are a little bit over the limit, speed limit, I think 8.5 could be a good expectation. And the thing that's real nice about it too is that even if we going to go with the sports mod, the gas difference is not going to be that much, but you're gonna see a little bit more pepper, a little bit more pep for the acceleration for sure. And if you want to go with really good gas mileage, the hybrid is there for you. So get both options available.
And at the end of the day, on the highway, between the EcoBoost and the hybrid, there is a difference, but it's not huge. So you got to pick: do you want more traction, or do you want what could be a huge difference in fuel economy if you're driving, in town? Because on the highway at 110, it's 70 miles per hour, EcoBoost or hybrid, you're not going to see a 30% difference. However, in town, yes, in town, this can definitely be between 8 to 10 liters per 100 kilometers in town. Whereas the hybrid, you're probably going to play between 5 to 5.9. So that's about 50. You're going to play around 45 to 50 miles per gallon in town. And on the highway, well, both are pretty similar.
And when we go back a little bit about the value of the truck, about the Maverick, if you compare for Ford directly, a Ford Bronco Sports, or you go with a Escape and you want to have the 2 liters engine, the price is going to be up to $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 more dollars. And when you go with the resale value, John's thing's gonna be up with me. I think we're gonna have a better resale value with the Maverick versus one of the Escape example.
I'm happy you brought up that point. That's a fantastic point. My parents bought they wanted the 2-liter turbo because they had it in their Lincoln, and they were like, that's the best motor we've had. We love that 2-liter turbo. And I said, well, you're gonna like it more now with the 8-speed transmission, because they had the old 6-speed on their 2018 Lincoln MKC. They got a Bronco Sport Badlands. They paid 47,000 Canadian, and yes, it's in leather, but this is 34.5, and if it was a Lariat, we would have been playing still about, we would have been playing, like Tristan said, about
41, 42 maybe?
Yeah, about $6,000 less, and the resale on this, I'm convinced, is going to be better. So on that bombshell, we're gonna wish you a fantastic weekend. By the time you're getting this, we're probably either going to be in Daytona, and wish you all more cars and more power. Hope your Maverick and my Maverick comes in soon. So wishing you luck. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments section. Thanks for watching.
Now, thank you for all the help and support with the channel. We reached over 8,000 subscribers and we'll be hitting 2 million views soon, so thank you so much. And if exclusive content, background stories, and really exclusive news does interest you, do consider becoming a member when that's available. Thank you so much for the help. Have a great weekend. And do subscribe if you want to help dress and put that poodle through sports. Thanks.